Getting Durin. I remember it like it was yesterday. That it was actually today. Technically. 20 per crow. Okay, on the background, all 3-star weapons ranked in the ship.
3-star weapons can do their job well enough to carry you through our conquest and early endgame. Basically, weapons are now worth your materials. Well, the first on the C tier list, we've got the blood-tainted greatsword, the most powerful cousin of the elemental mastery family of 3-stars. A whopping 187 at max. Dang, you sure didn't steal any elemental mastery from the 4-star section? Just like the Raven Bow and Cool Steel, it offers additional damage if affected by Electro or Pyro. Therefore, pair it up with the Luke Durin or Razor for the best efficiency. And if not, Cave would love some extra elemental mastery. Yay! Leaving the blood-tainted greatsword, we move on to high-scaling bow with HP percentage. At number 13, we have the Recurve Bow, the lost sibling to the White Iron Greatsword. Nearly 47% of HP increase along with HP regeneration. Hey, back-to-back same attribute. Since these 3 characters scale with HP, like Diana's shield gets bulkier, Yelan's dice gains more damage, and Sijuin, she just gets inflated. This bow definitely carries good benefits for them, though don't give it to anyone else. It's time to return to the Stone Age and ask Croods what rhymes with the Bait Club. Attack does. Anyways, the Bait Club is a good choice if you need extra physical damage and attack. Quite popular amongst big ladies and men. Big stone, big damage. Though, 3-star claymores are generally weak and easily replaceable in the long term. But who doesn't like attack boost and some cool ring effect? Am I right or am I right? In the beginning of this video, I've mentioned a special rare 3-star weapon that can be obtained through typical wishing or overworld chest. 11th place goes to the Dark Iron Sword, known to be quite rare to obtain and performs decently with Electro and Dendro characters. This weapon supports high elemental mastery and the effect encourages Dendro Electro reactions, just like the Raven Bow, Blood-Tainted Greatsword and Cool Steel. The 4 cousins, or more, I don't know. You're not actually missing out much by not having it from this dude. I guess bonus for being a rare child though. And finally, reaching the top 10 spot, we've got the Twin Nephrite. A catalyst weapon, sponsored by Shenyu Valley people. It scales with crit rate, with the addition of speed. Yup, speed. Movement speed and attack speed. Ningguang should buy a stash of them to reach her 5-star potential one day. What makes this weapon so special is its ability to be paired up with pretty much any DPS and sub-DPS catalyst. Hey, pretty good there, huh? We now zoom out from the C tier frame and embrace weapons that are worth bringing in for the mid-game. These weapons now show a solid performance and synergizes with the characters pretty well. The final cousin of the duo elemental reaction family goes to the Magic Guide. A powerhouse for any catalyst character, provides high amount of elemental mastery and increased damage to enemy affected by Hydro or Electro. However, it's not entirely locked behind these 2 elements, since many other catalyst users still find the elemental mastery a huge gift, what they want in Shadow of Both. Big applauses, everyone. Lee, Sucrose, Miko, Noida, and you name them. Catalyst calorie intake is pretty much 80% in the end. The majority of 3-star bows come with an inbuilt crit damage. How interesting. Anyhow, at number 8 we've got the Sharpshooter's Oath, a high crit damage bow coming in at 47% crit damage, and increased damage if you score a hit on enemy's weak spot. Now this sounds exactly like the Messenger. Why not name it Delivery or WhatsApp?
Your phone going to go to voicemail. Bye.
These two are like twins. It's just swamped version of their stats. One has more crit damage and the other attacks. Though, let me remind you, weak spots appear less and less in the future region, meaning this bow overshadows its own cousin with the higher crit damage. In the late story quest progression, of course. It's time to address the only weapon with the elemental damage bonus, and unfortunately, it's the most neglected child in the family. At number 7, we bring out the Skyrider Greatsword, known to be the only 3-star weapon with inbuilt elemental damage bonus. Awesome, right? In practice, any Claymore DPS can be physically built. However, some shine exactly in that department, like for instance Eula, Fremine, Razor and Shenyan. It may be a laughingstock nowadays, but we must admit it gets the job done pretty good in the end. So invest if you think of building someone physically. We now take a step above the mid-tier weapons, where most of the 3-star weapons rival the 4-stars. The weapons are now reliable gears to demolish your enemies. Starting off with a budget Favonius sword, the Skyrider sword. This green little fella. This sword provides an attractive amount of 51% energy recharge increase and speed. Yup, twin Nephrite's other half. But instead of defeating an enemy, you simply have to cast your burst to trigger the effects. That's way easier than before. It's even quite versatile and can be given to any sword character in need of high ER, just like the Favonius sword. Enjoy the 24% speed at ER 5. So remember the Ferocious Shadow Claymore from the bottom of the list. Yep, its substat skill literally sets you back whenever your character got stronger. However, our next weapon does something similar, though this time it gets things right. Meet the Harbinger of Dawn, one of the best 3-star swords to ever be laid on your hands. This powerful stick grants you nearly 47% crit damage, 28% crit rate increase at R5 max level. Whoa, sounds powerful as heck, right? However, there are always twists for such things. You only gain crit rate increase if you manage to stay above 90% HP. Oh, well, I guess I need healers and shielders to stay above 90% to keep that substat effect. Taking things slightly above, we've got weapons that now become powerful and quite reliable in the endgame. Well, you might be thinking I am pulling your sweet little toes. Well, I might, so sleep with one eye open tonight. I am speaking of the unholy Black Tassel, with the absolute horrendous substat skill I've ever witnessed in my life. Increased damage to slimes? What is this bull? Increased damage to slimes? What is this bull? Alright, let me explain. The main stat is all that matters. This is the only polearm that ascends with HP percentage in the 3-star section. The second polearm with HP percentage is an event weapon that is no longer obtainable, and the third one is also a 4-star that gets less HP scaling compared to the Black Tassel. What the hell are Genshin developers on? They took that drink from Setlali while making HP polearms. Anyways, consider this weapon as a solid investment for many polearms users that scale off with HP. Moving on to number 3 spot, we have the infamous Slingshot Bow. Yet another crit damage bow. So what does it do? Well, don't get fooled by its low crit damage out of the 3. Enrique! It's the substat skill that makes up for the losses. What makes it so special is that this bow comes with an inbuilt penalty. Basically, having skill issues will decrease your damage. Bow characters already come with an aimbot while using their normal attacks anyways. Man, Rapid Fire Yelan and Yoimiya sure love it. Wait, every bow DPS enjoy this skill. And now, we've finally reached the highest and mightiest 3-star weapons available in Tevat. Now, these two powerful weapons are popular amongst humans. Yeah, what? They pretty much provide a huge buff and will make most of your characters smile at the end of the rainbow. Coming in at number 2 spot, we've got the Black Tassel's twins, the White Tassel. Hell yeah, White Stick. It's known for possessing an impressive amount of crit rate for a 3-star weapon, and has the most simplest skill description in the whole Tevat. Leeway guards even have them equipped. This guy knows ball. This crit stick is approved by all polearms users. White Tassel literally screams, hey, I do damage alright. In other words, it's a free to play friendly weapon that carries up to the end game content. And finally, we have the final 3-star weapon that favors pretty much the whole Catalyst gang. Let it be known that the divinity belongs to the Thrilling Tales of Dragon Slayers. This HP book is literally a mini pocket Bennett for your team. When you switch from the active character with this book onto the other one, that character gains a 48% attack increase for 10 seconds at R5. Holy Barbaristo! This is our 5th party member in disguise. Well, let's not forget the main stat. It scales with HP, which suits Hydro characters such as Barbara, Nuvelet, and Sangonomiya Kokomi. Pretty much any Catalyst user can equip it and buff your next character. So in other words, Pocket Bennett. Hell yeah! And there you have it, people of Tevat. The entire tier list is listed here. Now Shenhe wants to know your personal opinions on these weapons. Would you rank them higher or lower? Or maybe you have something else to say. I don't know. Let her know down in Sangonomiya Kokomi. Pretty much any Catalyst user can equip it and buff your next character. So in other words, Pocket Bennett. Hell yeah. And there you have it, people of Tevat. The entire tier list is listed here. Now Shenhe wants to know your personal opinions on these weapons. Would you rank them higher or lower? Or maybe you have something else to say. I don't know. Let her know down in the comments. So thank you and thanks for watching.
There is no way people are debating over Furina's signature weapon being worse than a 4-star weapon. It's Zhongli's signature all over again. What is going on? We've got powerful weapons and we have absolute disaster class weapons existing in Tevat. But one may ask the question, which 4-star weapons are actually the best and the worst in each category? So people of Tevat, grab your apple cider and the mysterious bolognese made by Lisa and enjoy the list. And by the way, I'm excluding Battle Pass and event exclusive weapons. Let's begin. Alright, starting with an interesting choice and a quite unusual one as well. The Sword of Descension, a PlayStation exclusive weapon. So why is this weapon the worst? Well, not only is it a PlayStation exclusive, it's also Traveler exclusive. Without any of the 2 criteria above, you lose all the stats. And suddenly, this exclusive weapon doesn't sound too attractive anymore. What was the thought behind this sad stick? No refinements, lowest attack, mimics the 3-star weapon, and doesn't work outside PlayStation. Dang, such a useless 4-star weapon. Well, at least the design looks somewhat good with the Traveler. Alright, let's not completely trash this weapon. I mean, for a beginner weapon for the Traveler, it's quite good before you reach AR20. However, if we exclude console exclusives, then the Flute is by far the worst 4-star weapon. Why? Quite underwhelming stats and flexibility. It does go alright with Chi-Chi, I guess, but other than that, it's not a great sword at all. Imagine a sword that can keep your skill and burst at all times and fits up to at least 10 characters. These Sacrificial and Favonius swords share the spot for the best swords as 4 stars. Huge amount of energy recharge, energy regeneration, eliminates the skill cooldown, and can be switched over to other characters without losing its purpose. These swords are made for sub DPS and support characters that are in need to keep their burst at all times. I mean 60% ER? Dang! It's good with Furina, Bennett, Xingqiu Jin, and many more, making both of these swords equally the best choice. So whenever you wish for them, make sure to at least lock them in so you don't just use them as refinements, I guess. So you are a Catalyst weapon user and suddenly you deal this type of damage. Jesus, what was that? Replay that. What the hell is this? The worst Catalyst weapon is definitely the Eye of Perception. Why? All it does is offer you additional physical damage and you have a 50-50 chance to activate it. What gambling addict made this crap? As a new player, I didn't know if this weapon was good or not. Well, materials well spent. This useless spinning blade of disappointment will not satisfy any of your main DPSs, unless you run Lisa only gameplay and you need to somehow defeat the Electro Slime with physical damage. Anyhow, at first glance this weapon attracts attention because of its high attack percentage and even more attack percentage in the substat. But don't get fooled by that. No Catalyst character so far as of 6.1 deals physical damage. People use this to add attack percentage from the main stat as a substitute. You'd be better off with a 3-star instead. If Eye of Perception is the worst Catalyst weapon for main DPS classes, then in reverse, we've got the Widsith weapon that does the job 10 times better. Your main DPS characters will turn their frown upside down. This weapon is quite versatile and effective for any Catalyst user. It offers decent crit damage, attack percent increase, increase of elemental damage bonus, and elemental mastery. Whoa, this is so much. But here's the catch. They will gain random theme song.
Almost here.
The monster?
The theme song.
What?
The bad guy's theme always plays before the final battle.
You are not guaranteed to get the specific theme corresponding to your desired buff, so keep that in mind. The Widsith works with DPS, sub-DPSs and even support characters, so whenever you get it, use it. And when you get R5 of this Catalyst, man, this weapon rivals 5-star signature weapons, so make sure not to sleep on it. Oh my Archon, imagine you gain over 69 damage bonus from a bow, and yet still be the most useless one for all bow characters available. The spot goes to the Pound bow. Jeez, cover your eyes people, don't look at it. Now who the heck even made this metal junk? This is the highest physical damage bonus we've ever witnessed in Genshin, and yet there are no bow characters specialized in physical damage. It's not even good on Yoimiya. Dang. Look, if you wish to run a physical damage DPS, then be my guest. You will quickly reconsider your choices mainly because there isn't a big team play for this build. I guess Amber and possible Fischl can, or maybe barely make use of it. I have one thing to say. Spare your materials as far away from this craftable weapon. Yeah, it's craftable. Now spend your precious time gathering rocks and these relics for it. 5 times just so you can shoot 2.4% faster. Whoa, what happened to my Fischl? Why is she all smug like that? Okay, we are back at it again. Very tight decision between two great bows. I'll pick one this time. Between the stringless and Favonius Warbow, it has to be the stringless. Otherwise, this will be a top 5 best Favonius weapons and everything else. Don't get me wrong here, but Favonius Warbow is still a great and flexible contender, but the stringless is a sub DPS paradise. This bow is amazing, mainly because of its high attack and elemental mastery. However, this weapon shines in its substats section. Elemental skill and burst damage increase by 24% at all 1. Whoa, such simple description, such power. Oh, and let's not forget, it works with DPS characters as well, like Tainari, Tortaglia and maybe Yelan as well. Nonetheless, if you truly need a huge damage boost, then the stringless is your pick for it. So don't just casually look away from it because it looks so simple. That's how Julius Caesar started to conquer the Mediterranean. Simple. That's how Julius Caesar started to conquer the Mediterranean. The worst claimer in Genshin is probably not the bell. How is that possible? That spot is reserved for the snow-toned star silver claimer found in Dragonspine. Are you surprised? I know I am. Because who uses this claimer in the Big 25? Snow-toned Star Silver is known to be a DPS claimer for physical damage. Pretty much anyone can deal physical damage. But as you know, physical damage isn't treated well in Genshin nowadays. This claimer increases your damage bonus and deals AoE if hit with a normal or a charge attack. If the enemy is affected by Cryo, by the way. This would mean that Fremine and Eli will most likely get use of it. Oh boy, even if it fits them, this claimer won't save them from dealing more damage. Unfortunately, Fremine and Ila are considered to be the lowest tier characters today. Ouch. For these mains, pay respect to them whenever you see them next time. Alright, hear me out. Whoever is forging these weapons in Mondstadt is an absolute gigajack for supplying the entire nation with energy recharge. Yet again, the best and most versatile weapon in Claimer class goes to Favonia's Greatsword. This weapon packs a lot of energy recharge along with its regeneration, thus supporting your character to keep their burst at all times. It works pretty fine with Baden, Well and Shungden, though Claimers in general are not too versatile in Genshin. Therefore, it was quite hard to pick a clear victor here. Other runners-up are the Sacrificial Greatsword and the unusual Akuamaru. Yeah, this one right here. The polearm class weapons are probably the most unique ones out of all other classes, but nothing compares to the Teva's biggest disappointment that I can even think of anyone wanting to equip this metal stick. If you thought Capambos was a disaster, then meet its relative, the Crescent Spike. Oh Jesus Christ, what the f? It's probably crafted by Healers as an April Fool's joke. So where do I begin with this weapon? This polearm comes with a 34% physical damage bonus and a measly 20% attack bonus after you picked up an elemental orb. In addition, this weapon is craftable, so if you want refinements for it, then don't do it. I don't recommend. Now, someone might say the footprint of the rainbow polearm should be the worst, but at least Kachina utilizes this weapon to the fullest. I mean, seriously, I guess Rosaria as a main DPS can get some usage out of it, but who even uses her as a main DPS? Forgive me, main Rosaria DPSs. Other than trying it out and then throwing it away? Literally a 3-star weapon fits her more, the halberd and the white tassel. Oh hey, I'm fishing alright, because there's a specific weapon I want to obtain. The best polearm you can obtain is probably the catch from Inazuma Fishing Association. This spear is amazing. Good amount of energy recharge, elemental burst damage, and crit rate increase. Another polearm for Shannon collection. The catch is extremely versatile and probably works with any polearm users. Shogun, Shanha, Rosaria, Emily, and probably everyone else. I mean, to be fair, polearms are in general quite versatile from the beginning, unlike the Claimers. Most of the polearm's user damage come from the elemental bursts anyways, and the catch supports that. I must flex here since I have this weapon at R5, but here's the catch. The catch is a quite a time-consuming weapon to obtain. You need to fish, the most boring feature in the entire game, but I know you'll do it, just so you can see Raiden Shogun smile. And here are the 5 best and 5 worst 4-star weapons that exist in Teyvat as of 6.0. Did you find this useful? No? Fair enough. Not every best weapon fits the character anyways. Do you have a favorite 4-star weapon? Well, please let me know. Isn't it weird that 3-star weapons and artifacts are just forgotten and Hoyo hasn't introduced new ones for 5 years? Good morning, people of the Vat. Did you see Kutar high up in the sky last night? Today, I thought to myself, you know what? I ranked 3-star weapons in the last video, so why not 3-star artifacts? This guy already knew somehow. This is all 3-star artifacts. This guy already knew somehow. This is all 14 3-star artifacts ranked. And who even uses them anyways? So grab your fried shrimp cornballs and enjoy this video. Let's begin. Alright, listen up people, and prepare to witness with your own eyes, or just listen, the worst artifact to ever exist in the whole Teyvat. At the bottom of the list, we've got the one and only Adventurer. Oh my Archon. What is that 4-piece? Quickly, Barbara, run away! The Adventurer is basically HP orientated. The 2-piece is alright with the addition of 1000 health points, but the second piece is absolutely dreadful. I mean, yeah, it's fine for the newborn travelers that just started playing this game. The only effect to become useless after a certain amount of time. I'd still recommend the other 3-star artifacts above the Adventurer, so try not to invest in it too much. Sharing the bottom spot, we've got yet another depressing artifact for the baby travelers.
None other than the Lucky Dog. This clover looking set. Well, you're not getting any luckier with your pose with it, so don't try it. Defense specialized artifact that suits Noelle, Shilonen, Albedo and many more. 100 extra defense? I guess it's decent. Although, who even allowed Zhongli to make the second bonus effect? Picking up Mora restores 300 HP. Though defeating enemies does reward you with Mora, which actually helps the beginners to stay alive. Not that useless at all. Leaving the absolute hilarious F tier spot, this time, the gods above us thought it would be funny to release this type of artifact. Coming in at number 12, we have the 4 sets of prayers. These 4 tiaras that only appear in the logo section and nowhere else. So how do you even get 2 or 4 piece effects? You don't. You get 1 piece. Yep, 1 piece. Wrong piece. This piece. It's the most odd and one-of-a-kind artifact we have in the game. This means you can build your first 5 whole artifact set piece. Pretty cool. Though the bonus effect is quite toe-tickling. It's not even resistant. So what's the point of being affected by an element less time if you're still gonna get your butt spanked anyways? Well, sure. Speaking of elemental resistance, the Tiny Miracle takes the 11th spot. Oh, okay. It's just pure defense. This artifact doesn't provide any necessary stats to your characters at all, just like the prayers. So what does this thing do? Well, it's like putting an armor on your character. Simple as that. Well, that sounds sure uninteresting. It can be paired up with any character, though no character truly benefits from it, aside from staying alive. 20% elemental resistance, and the 4 piece just makes you a tank at that point.
Your mommy teach you that?
Oh, that's tough. Straight from the Healer's Council, we've got the Traveling Doctor artifact, making sure your characters don't just vanish that easily. As you may have guessed, it's popular amongst healers, which perfectly synergizes with their kit. Offers incoming healing by 20% and casting burst restores 20% HP. Whoa, that's like Pocket Barbara for Barbara. Great beginner artifact for newbies. Let's move on to attack scaling characters that need to take down big bad girls. The 9th place goes to the Braveheart artifact, known to be quite strong before your enemies goes below 50% HP. Then it loses its second bonus stat against that foe. Come on, girl. Although it may sound disappointing, Braveheart still does its job well enough. Therefore, you may pair it up with new class characters. Any character that does huge burst damage. Hey, you might even be able to one-shot your opponent. So remember Tiny Miracle from like 2 minutes ago? Yeah, well, let me introduce you to his cousin, the Defender's Will. Unlike Tiny Miracle, the Defender's Will artifact provides 30% defense increase and 30% elemental resistance from your party's elemental type. Well, that is much better. Well done, dude. A far better alternative for defense scaling characters like Shilonen, Albedo, Noelle, the whole defense scaling family. You go, Noelle. Enemies' hits will be equivalent to kissing your boots. Do you perhaps struggle to keep your burst up, Lumine? Then why don't you go to the Academia and major in energy recharge maintenance? Well, at number 7 spot, we've got the Scholar artifact, which will ease your energy recharge requirements despite fully working on 2 weapon classes. The 20% energy recharge is a nice boost. However, you're only limited to bow and catalyst user if you're using the second bonus. Everyone else will gain energy by just breathing. Just don't pair this artifact with Mawika or Skirk. Hold on for a second there. Shenhe, we talked about not twisting people's arms just because they asked for your phone number. Wait, he did not like and subscribe? What are you waiting for? Twist his legs. While my foes were busy kissing Noelle boots, Rosaria decided to gamble my Mora away, and I was quite disappointed until I realized she has a gambling addiction. That's why I gave her the Gambler set to support her dreams. The Gambler set is actually one of the most solid starter artifacts for any traveler out there. The first effect grants you 20% elemental skill damage bonus, and the second effect 100% chance to remove the skill cooldown, if you manage to defeat your enemy, of course. Tartaglia's and Xingshu's dreams. I was quite surprised how well this artifact works in the game. I guess in the end, gambling is the answer to our troubles. We once again return to being feisty and aggressive with our enemies. It's time to to step our game and show those big bad women what we are made of. By the power of resolution of Sojourner set, we'll be able to keep our raw damage high. This set is similar to Braveheart, granting us 18% attack increase, though the big difference lies in the second bonus, which increases our crit rate by 30% while using charge attack. Whoa, chill out there Hutao, I know you all want that sweet 30% crit rate. Hence, I highly recommend pairing it up with characters that focus on charge attacks. Just slightly above the resolution of Sojourner, I bring you yet another damage boost set which pays attention to normal and charge attacks. Meet the Martial Artist artifact. This cool little set centers solely on one thing and one thing only. No other bonus. Both effects increase your normal and charge attacks up to 40%, 15% from the first and 25% from the second one. Just attack, cast some skill and attack. Very simple. Finally getting some real damage in the early game. Whoa, we're already in top 3 spot. Well, the bronze spot goes to the Berserker. Hell yeah. Just hearing the Berserker word already sets us into insane people. This artifact doesn't disappoint with the name either, since this is pure crit rate we're talking about. 12% a 2-piece and additional 24% if you fall below 70% HP. Who invited Krieg from Borderlands? So go crazy my Shenhe, unbind those red ropes holding your divine power away. Sure, being a berserker is crazy and all, but we have to put our energy recharge orbs back to our burst again. So where were we? The Scholar? Nope. The silver spot goes to the Exile artifact. This cyan flower looking thing. These two are twins, but one is better team player than the other one. How so? Both basically provide us with 20% recharge and orbs for the other party members. But this Scholar only cares for the bow and catalyst users, while the Exile doesn't concern themselves with what weapon you're holding. You may even hold a stick and you'll be still rewarded with elemental orbs. Speaking of being a team player, we have one final artifact that excels in both giving us a huge stat boost and provides the entire party with the elemental mastery, even the user themselves. The golden medal goes to the instructor set. This yellow pretty cool looking flower. Not from the Undertale by the way. 80 elemental mastery from 2-piece and additional 120 after triggering an elemental reaction. For everyone. 120 for the rest and 200 for me. What a perfect synergy. Do elemental stuff to earn more elemental stuff. Nonetheless, it's extremely versatile and works with the vast majority of the characters. Who doesn't like additional elemental mastery in their party? Probably the best artifact for a beginner who just picked up their first mint flower somewhere and decided, yeah, I need that elemental mastery because Lisa. And there you have it, people of Tevat. Shenhe is still going berserk somewhere, so Lady I wants to hear your pretty little thoughts about 3-star artifacts. Let her know by commenting somewhere down below. And as always, thank you and thanks for watching.
Folks, have you ever watched my videos about Nigel Richards and wondered how the heck does anyone ever beat this guy? Well, I have won 6 out of my 8 games against him in my career, and I'm here to tell you that it's actually a very simple 2-step approach. Step 1, dedicate 5 to 10 years of your life to learning the Scrabble dictionary completely cold. Step 2, get paired up against Nigel and draw incredibly, amazingly, unrelentingly well while he draws complete trash. Well, there you have it. That is how to beat the Scrabble GOAT, Nigel Richards. If you got something out of this video, consider dropping a like, hitting that subscribe button, and I'll see you next time. Alright, seriously though, I know you're wanting to see some examples of this strategy in action, so in this video we're going to break down my 2nd ever game against Nigel. To show you exactly what I'm talking about. This game takes place in round 21 at the 2014 North American Championship, and I have the first move and play Zag for 26. In the North American lexicon, the Z only overlaps with the A, and I have one in reserve, so this is a solid defensive opening if Nigel doesn't have an A or an S. He responds with Z for just 14, suggesting that while he probably has neither of those letters, he likely has good bingo tiles in reserve. After Z, I'm reluctant to play the standard move of Aulic for 20, opening the board for 7s ending in D, R, or G, so I play Guayak for 13 here instead. This is definitely a mild mistake. If I'm worried about Nigel having 5 strong tiles after Z, I should be playing Gazed instead to keep the board nice and tight. Fortunately for me, Nigel answers with How for 18, opening the left side a bit more, and I draw the first blank and the X out of the bag. Normally, the blank is good for bingoing and the X is good for scoring with shorter words, so you'll need to use the X first, then shoot for a bingo later. This is where step 1 of my plan comes into action. Something like Gox or Coxing is normally solid here, but I have one insane standout play, and fortunately I spotted it immediately. Gloxinia for 119 points, putting the X in the perfect spot to max out my score. Of course, this play opens the board to all manner of counterplay for Nigel, and I'm bracing myself for the worst after his 2 short plays. But his response, the light hitting, oozed for only 21. My draw, on the other hand, includes the first S of the game along with balanced bingo tiles, and I jump even further ahead with my second straight bingo of tunnels for 75, closing a lot of the space that Gloxinia opened up. Next, Nigel plays Caw for 30, his highest scoring play of the game so far, which says a lot. I draw another nice looking assortment of tiles from the bag. These tiles can form the 7-letter word primate, but there's no space on the board to play it. However, there is one 8-letter word available, Impactor for 67, my 3rd straight bingo. I'm now up by a shocking score of 300 to 83. Nigel cuts into the massive deficit a bit with Cats for 50. This was an interesting play because Impactor creates a huge S-hook for me to worry about. I'm definitely concerned that Nigel has a second S in reserve and that he's gunning for a big bingo there to jumpstart his comeback. While my draw after Impactors isn't the best, I do draw an S of my own. I could play this for 42 to block the hook, but that play would leave the very ugly JRRW combo for next turn. So I decide to play Jiver for 30, leaving the much more balanced RSW. If Nigel doesn't have the 4th and final S or the second blank, I'm the one who will be hitting the huge hook next turn. Nigel responds with Took for 28. Sook would have scored 54 points here, which would be a lot to give up if he had that S. Still, I can't rule out that he's holding on to it and setting up a second huge hook for it on the far right column. To my 3 consonant leave, I draw 3 more consonants, but 1 vowel is just enough for me to cash in my S hook with Muse for 48, scoring very well while diffusing the danger of that spot. Now trailing by over 200, Nigel decides to throw a Hail Mary with Avion for 18, placing a tile in the triple lane. With the second blank still lurking unseen to me, I absolutely have to play in the newly opened area to prevent triple triples, and the simple Frat for 33 blocks the spot and balances my rack nicely. Nigel answers with Yo for 30, and I'm stunned when to my AENR leave, I draw the 4th and final S. I draw 2 I's with it as well, which would sometimes be unfortunate. In this case, it completes my rack to give me the obscure but high probability bingo of Scenarii for 89, hooking Tukes to pump up my lead to just shy of 300 points. This is my 4th bingo of the game to Nigel's 0. Of course, whenever Nigel draws bingos, he always finds them, and with the second blank in hand, he finally gets one down in Bag-like for 72, his only 7-letter word. Next, I can play Blood for 29, which is probably the right move here. Instead, I play the similar Doblon for 27, using an extra tile to get to the end of the game ASAP. With 2 tiles in the bag, Nigel plays the nice parallel of Pyre for 39, bringing us to the endgame. My best move here is Eerie for 28, leaving The and Thin as outplays next turn. My choice of retie is 2 points back, and after Nigel's customary perfect endgame play of Thed for 13, I finish with my top scoring outplay of A for 19 for a final score of 580 to 343. 2014 just wasn't Nigel's year. His eventual 16th place finish was by far his lowest ever at a North American Championship, as he started slow with 4 losses in his first 7 games and never rose to the top 5 in the standings throughout the event's 31 rounds. Going into this game, I had also lost 4 out of my last 5 games, so it wasn't the best thing for my comeback chances to see Nigel sitting across the board from me, but on the other hand, it is always a privilege to play against the GOAT. After 5 years of focused dictionary study, I was able to spot Gloxinia when the opportunity presented itself, and that led to an avalanche of more good tiles and bingos en route to my blowout win. According to the annotated game database at crosstables.com, my 237-point win against Nigel was the 4th biggest loss of his career. And zooming out to the top 10, I'm actually on this list 3 times in total, with nobody else appearing more than once. This isn't because I have some secret knowledge about how to beat Nigel. It's almost purely a function of extreme good fortune. Yes, I did have to know the word Gloxinia and find it over the board, but any number of expert players would have done exactly the same in my shoes. If you want to see these other 2 games against Nigel, consider subscribing to my channel if you haven't already. It really helps me out, and I plan on doing breakdowns of both of them very soon. Thank you so much for watching, and see you next time.
Ad Astra. Thank you for Ad Astra.
You might want to get a guide if you're not familiar with the area.
You'll interfere with the mixing process if you don't keep your voice down.
Yeah, I was muted all the time. Right. Well, I just thought about how close my squirk is to the perfect squirk. And can I even get her in the flower deep galleries? Any of the deep galleries set? Highly unlikely. Like it's decreased by 5% in terms of damage output. Even if I get lucky. So yeah. Highly unlikely. Alright, it's going to wait for the stream. Good luck, fun, thanks for watching.